What is up, everyone? It is Diecastbuffet here again with the 2025 Ricky Stenhouse Jr. alternate paint scheme. This is the Funpops Chevrolet ran at the Coca-Cola 600. One of my favorite paint schemes perhaps of the year because it's just so random and whimsical. It's cool. Let's go ahead and check it out. Alright folks, here we go with today's Diecast review, and one of the alternate paint schemes for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the Funpops Chevrolet. I want to say he ran this car actually a couple of times in 2025, but this one is specifically based off of the Coke 600 car. He might even ran a different alternate version, but I remember seeing the Funpops car a time or two later in the season. And if you like the bright, vibrant, colorful paint schemes, this one's definitely up there. A little bit of shades of maybe some of the Skittles cars Kyle Busch has had in the past. So you got Hayek Motorsports, which I think this is the second or third Hayek Motorsports diecast to actually get made. They rebranded from JTG Doherty Racing. Are they the same thing? You could argue, yeah. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and open up the diecast. I'll be right back. Here we go, folks. Diecast out of the box, and I talked about it being very bright colored and whimsical. Look at this paint scheme. I mean, you got all this detail, you got all these characters and colors and stuff. Really, really sharp stuff. So this car is one of the multitude of sponsors the 47 car had in 2025. I mean, they had all kinds of different liveries. And what's crazy is a lot of them are actually getting made. I mean, they had one diecast made from what? 2000, they had one in 2019. They didn't make one, I don't think, for 2020 or 2021 for Stenhouse specifically. I think they made a Ryan Preece one. Could be tripping on that. And then they made one for 2022, which I think was the Irish Spring car. 2023 was the Daytona 500 win. And then 2024 is the Talladega win. I think they made two so far from 2025. There was a potato roll car, believe it or not, out of all sponsorships. So W to them getting these diecasts made. And I think there's a Jack Link's car getting produced. There's one that's like, it's got a penguin on it. I have no idea what the sponsor is, but he ran that paint scheme. Apparently that one's getting produced. And I think one more, maybe two different Jack Link's cars. So it's a great year in terms of, 164s for, if you're a fan of the, the JTG Doherty 47 car / Hayek Motorsports team. I don't know what you call it nowadays, because to me, it's always been, JTG Doherty Racing all the way back to when they were driving Gen 5 Camrys. For the front of the diecast here, you have your Coke 600 front windshield banner. You got Funpops right there. On the hood of the diecast, you have, a lot of different colors and characters. That's really cool. I like that. The whimsical paint schemes, they're kind of making a return back to NASCAR. We're seeing more and more, just more sponsors, more brands, more consumer-based stuff, which is really cool. You have Hayek Motorsports right there on the right side. Sunoco on both sides of the car. The entire car is red. There is a very faint, kind of a strawberry red color in the background where the lighting kind of adds a little bit of effect to it. Then you have some blue around there. You have some white lines there. So there's a lot of different textures and details going on here. Almost kind of like a comic book with the little yellow stripes across it. You do have Funpops right there on top of the Chevrolet badge. And then we go over here to the left side of the diecast here. You have the 47. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of a clear coat blemish, it looks like, on the actual 4. That's unfortunate. I do like this a lot. How the whole paint scheme takes up, really the whole side panel. Really good sponsor logo placement. And then they filled in the gaps with the little characters. And I like this. They took the characters all the way down to the rocker box there. That is really sharp. The paint scheme a little bit in terms of color and design, seeing the yellow and the red, a little bit of Lightning McQueen vibes. I don't know why. It does kind of remind me of it a little bit. You got Cup Series there, NASCAR salutes. You got Goodyear, Stenhouse. Nothing on the C post. You do have the little white stripe that actually goes here inside of the driver cockpit, and then it kind of comes out here on the C post, so that's interesting. Your B post decal, let's zoom in here a little bit, see what we can see. I do see Sunny D. I see Chevrolet. I don't know what the other two are. Again, they had so many different sponsors in 2025. They were, making up for, unfortunately, losing Kroger to Roush. So they had to kind of patchwork some of the races together. But, in hindsight, hey, at least you get a bunch of different, paint schemes produced. You do have the fuel door right there. Now, unfortunately, the wheel print, I can barely even read the red portion of it. I think it says honor and remember. I mean, I'm just going to keep it a buck. The the wheel print has not been that good. I'm going to keep it a buck. But great news is Lionel has fixed that. With their die-cast chassis and the rubber tire 164s pretty much taking over the ARC Gold Series line, I would expect that if they were to run the Patriotic tires in 2026, if and when those get made, they'll have high-quality prints. I mean, just look at the Goodyear logo. Look how clean it looks on the Sonoma Race to Win for SVG, and then look at the Stenhouse one. Oh yeah, that's going to be a fun die-cast. Make sure to pick that one up. So my point is the future versions of these cars should have significantly higher print quality. You can notice the whole design, kind of just like a little stripe effect that goes across the car. Very nice gradient textures. You can see kind of a polka dot pattern in the background. A lot going on with this car. Like this back panel kind of reminds me of a comic book, a little bit of Lightning McQueen. It's whimsical. It's fun. It's fast. I like it. It's definitely very unique. 47 right there on the right side. You have Funpops on the back panel. You got Chevrolet there. You have the ZL1 decal. You have the black spoiler. On the right side of the diecast, the side livery is mirrored, I believe. Yes, it's mirrored. So it's the same livery on both ends. You can see a little bit of decal that was not trimmed right there. It's an easy fix. The whole car, if you're curious, is painted with a more of a strawberry red. I've been watching this diecast review through, my camera screen, right, as I normally do. But I look over here to the side of the car, and I can definitely say the red on the car from the naked eye does look just a touch more strawberry red. So perhaps the footage you're watching, the color could be a little bit deceiving, so to speak. Top of the diecast here, you have the 47 there, which interesting enough has that kind of a bluish purple, white, and then the light blue outlining. So again, very unique paint scheme. Then you have Stenhouse Jr. on the back window, and then I don't even know how you pronounce that. Allmats Food? I don't know. I've never seen them before, but welcome to the sport of NASCAR. And then you go over here to the other side of the deck lid. There's a little bit of some decal areas that probably could have been wrapped a little bit more. Again, this is a full wrap car, so these are traditionally a lot more difficult to do. But fantastic diecast, man. If this car was offered in, let's say, 2021, this thing would have been canceled and out of production probably in a month. I didn't even have the box in the studio, by the way. My bad on that, guys. So my point is that the current NASCAR diecast era we're currently in, and I don't know how long this is going to last because you can't really predict the future, but I would say the 164 department, in my honest opinion, is the healthiest it's been probably since 2005. Considering how many different 164s are getting produced, I'm just going to show you some random diecasts just to really kind of drive home this point. How many times do you saw Xfinity diecasts like this get offered and canceled immediately? How many times have you seen a truck diecast? This ain't even apparently it's a test truck, so I don't even know if this thing even turned a lap. But it's a Spencer Boyd truck. That diecast got produced. Do I need more examples of this? How about this? How many times, for many years during the Gen 6 era, they would have a really popular guy, a Kyle Busch, who would win a random 1.5 mile race. Never made a 164 for it. Kyle Larson. Kansas race to win. How about this one right here? Boom. Busch Light alternate paint scheme. Beautiful stuff. Let's keep looking around here. How about this? A one-off paint scheme for a part-time driver. Yes, I know it's Jimmy Johnson, but how many times they didn't make paint schemes for some of the one-off drivers throughout the years? You know what I'm saying? Jimmy Johnson's 700 start car. That is amazing. You remember the days when they didn't used to have, window confetti? Yeah, those days are gone. How about that? Coke 600 Ross Chastain Race to Win diecast. If you're picking up the Stenhouse, you might as well pick up the car that won the event. But my point is 164 collecting right now, in my opinion, is the healthiest it's been in a very long time. There's so many diecasts getting made. I would say, to use a kind of a quarterback analogy, 25 out of 30 164s offered are getting made in the 164 scale. I would say in 2024, before the MOQ changes took effect halfway 2025, we were much more like 14 to 15 out of 30. About half of the pre-orders actually got made, and it was getting better, right? But yes, they would make almost all the cut paint schemes, but the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series was still, 95% of the time they got canceled at the 164 scale. My point is, enjoy what you're seeing, fellas, because it has been darn near 20 years since NASCAR 164 collectors have had this amount of variety. A lot of people might want to say, well, the COT era was so cool, and the Gen 5 era. Yes, but did they make all those paint schemes? Because I recall a lot of alternate paint schemes that never got made. Jimmy Johnson cars, Jeff Gordon cars, heck, even maybe like Ryan Newman, just all these different household names, and there were still 164s that didn't get made. So I would honestly compare it more or less to 2005, when you had like 4 different diecast manufacturers and they were all just pumping out paint schemes. So it's an exciting time, is what I'm trying to say, for 164 fans. Didn't mean to go on a diatribe there, but I feel like this paint scheme right here is kind of the example of what the current diecast era is. This would have never got made years ago. So really cool stuff. Thank you all again for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Have a blessed one, everybody. DB, signing off.